Hey everyone, Kyle Lewis here from the Worship Keyboard Tutorial YouTube channel, giving you tips and tricks to help you with your worship keyboard ministry. This is the first video in a series that we're calling Two-Handed 4-Note Arpeggios. Now these sound great, they're great for ending songs, and they're not as difficult as they sound. But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell so that you can be aware of future videos. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Alright, if you're ready, let's get started. So there is a free downloadable PDF that you can get by clicking the link below. It has all of the notation, all of the suggested fingerings, and the examples that I'm going to be playing in this lesson. So let's start with the fingering that's going to work with most of these arpeggios. And we're going to start with a C chord, but we're going to play it in first inversion. That means that I'm going to take this bottom note, C, and flip it to the top. That's first inversion. So all of these chords that we're going to be using for this first fingering are going to be in first inversion. So D flat, F, A flat, etc. We're going to be playing all of those in first inversion. Now with that inverted chord, we're going to use our left hand to add the second note of the chord. So if C is my root, the second note is D. So I'm going to use my left hand to add that note. So now I have four notes. I have the second, the third, the fifth, and the root of my chord. So I'm adding that second degree to a basic triad. I want to get my left hand moving after that so I can continue the pattern in a smooth fashion. So just practice that movement. Try to get a really smooth, even sound with all of your notes, just like you would if you were playing classical music. Now once you get that down, move down an octave and see if you can go up 3 or 4 octaves. And then once you get comfortable with the C, move on to some of these other keys like D flat, F, F sharp or G flat, G, A flat, B flat, and even B. So just like scales, we sometimes have to use a different fingering for different scales because we have a different combination of notes. And the same is true with these arpeggios. Sometimes we have to use a different fingering to get a smoother sound. So if I tried to play this D chord, this D arpeggio, with the same fingering that I did with all the other ones, look at what happens. If I start with my left hand here, I have the second, the third, the fifth, and the root here. If I try to get to that second note here, my left hand somehow, or my right hand somehow now has to get up and around to get up here. So I have to do a lot of circling around to get there. So that's not real conducive for getting a smooth, quick sound if I'm trying to play a nice arpeggio. So now I have to alter my fingering, even with my two hands, to get a better, smoother sound. So instead of having my E, F sharp, A, and D here, I'm going to take E and move it up here, like I inverted my chords. So now I have the third of the chord, F sharp, on the bottom. I have the fifth, the root, and the second. But notice that now my left hand is playing that third, and I have the other 3 notes in my right hand, the root, the fifth, the root, and the second. And that is a lot more conducive when I'm using my left hand to cross over to the black notes if my right hand is on the white notes. It's a lot more conducive to getting a smoother sound. Now the one thing is that when I get up here, that's ending on the second. That's not a very conclusive note to end on. Could work, but I might want to end on the D. So I could come back to the D. I could go up to the A. Either of those would be a little more conclusive than trying to just end on the D. Now this fingering works for E, and it also works for A. The one that it doesn't work for is the E flat. Now E flat could work with the first fingering. You could get a smooth sound with that. You might have better success though if you use this fingering. So if you start with the root, the E flat, so left hand playing the root now, right hand plays now the second, the third, and the fifth. And then I can end on the E flat up there. So now application. How do I apply all of this? These are fun to play. They sound nice, but how do I actually now put this in the context of playing for worship? Well, let's go back to the key of C. And I'm going to play a 4, 5, and conclude the song on the 1 chord. So I've got my 4 chord, 5, and 1. But now on that 1 chord, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it on the arpeggio. So this is how it will sound. Now notice that I didn't just play fingering for the arpeggios. That gets my fingering correct so I can move up, but what I did down here is I hit that root of the note, the C down here, then 5th. Then I went to the 2nd degree. I have to play this with my thumb first of all to get it going. And then I have my triad here, my C triad, and then I continue on with 3rd finger, on up. So let's do that again in context. I have the 4 chord, 5. Sometimes you can end it with a little a riff up here, riffing those 3 notes. Let's play it one more time in context. Now you could just play that single note. Or you could play this C up here. And then you have a nice ending for your song. Well, that's all we've got for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos that expound a little bit more on these two-handed arpeggios, both in major keys and in minor keys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.